The power to create is, and always has been, within us. This is Brendon, aka Skull Babylon, and you're about to listen to one of the most potent Paradigm Shift Radio episodes to date, as we welcome on our guest, Ralph Smart. Ralph is a well-known conscious media creator, author, psychologist, alchemist, and more. In this episode, we talk about what it means to activate our infinite potential. This includes topics related to self-realization, deprogramming, questioning the nature of reality, and being more conscious of our own sexual energy and how we can transmute it to create within this reality and align with our higher self. Paradigm Shift Radio is a weekly show that is a branch of the bigger community project. Keep an eye on the new updates at ParadigmShiftCentral.com as things prepare to move into the next phase and how you too can get involved and help out where you are. As things evolve, we are inviting people to contribute as sponsors to Paradigm Shift Radio so we can help fund the production of the show and promote your service to the audience. Contact us at the main website for more details. Like Facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Radio, tell your friends, continue the conversation, and join us again for future episodes. Enjoy the flow.
Family isn't always about blood. It's about the people in your life who want you in theirs. The ones who accept you for who you are, the ones who would do anything to see you smile, and who love you no matter what. This is Skull Babylon, and you're tuned in for another awesome, inspirational episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. And family, that is what this is all about. A lot of people are waking up to this idea of like, hey, you know, we have our differences, but we're all one and the same. We're all coming from the same place. That whole idea of one truth, yet many paths. That's what we'll be talking about tonight with our awesome and inspirational guest, Ralph Smart, on the show. So check out his stuff at infinitewaters.net and youtube.com/ChemitPrince1. And we'll be bringing him on literally within like the minute as things really get rolling here. And within that time, please invite your friends to tune in to the show. There's going to be a lot of awesome stuff and also some really cool Paradigm Shift news, but we're going to wait until the second hour until we get into that, as Ralph may or may not be leaving us after eventually, but in the meantime, we're definitely going to cover a lot of ground. A lot of you are already familiar with his content, with his videos. He's got 27,000 people subscribed to his YouTube channel. He's got a book that's out. He is he is a psychologist. He is a filmmaker. Does his own editing, which is something I can totally relate to. Me and him are on that same page. And he's also an alchemist, is something underneath his descriptions of titles. So very, very awesome stuff. Again, guys, as we're about to get moving into the show, please continue to share Paradigm Shift Radio. And, of course, Facebook.com/Paradigm Shift Radio and ParadigmShiftCentral.com are the main sites. But, again, stay tuned. We're going to have some big news, some big updates about the Paradigm Shift Central website, as well as some special audio that I'm going to share with you guys from the Howl at the Full Moon project that we were talking about previously. So something came out of that, and I'm looking forward to sharing it to you. So stay tuned for the later half of the show. But in the meantime, let's bring on Ralph and get right into this. So without further ado, we're going to bring Ralph Smart live here on Paradigm Shift Radio. Hello, Ralph.
Hello. It's great to be here on Paradigm Shift Radio. Thanks for having me, Brendon.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ralph, for being here as well. I myself, as along with many, many other people out there, are big fans of the work you do, and not only the quality of it, but the consistency of it. Your YouTube channel has over 700 videos, which is like amazing. I mean, mine has like close to 2,000, or not 200-ish, but I mean 700. You've been making videos going back to 2000. How you tell me, how long have you been working on video and film for?
Well, since 2008, I used to actually host on Blog Talk Radio, and I would upload the shows onto YouTube, but back then it was only 10-minute videos. So you would have to upload 10 videos to cover a show.
Yes. Very much got memories of that as well. Awesome. Well, Ralph, in terms of even the stuff that you were talking about back then, it was very much in theme with the evolution of consciousness. So tell me, what was your inspiration? At what point did you decide that, hey, I want to use my skills to help share this knowledge that I'm coming across? And, you know, want to, like, you again, what was your inspiration behind wanting to do that?
It was after I had just graduated and after I had just been working for a few years, and I just realized that what am I doing with my life? Who am I benefiting? And it was at that moment where I realized that I can use my talent, my gifts, to start counseling people. And then I just started making videos, created a radio show, and it just took off from there.
Yeah. So in terms of, the paradigm shifty stuff that people tune into Paradigm Shift to hear, let's really just get right into it and utilize the time that we have. Yet at the same time, presuming that there may be people listening to this show who might be completely new to the process of remembering a lot of the stuff that they already know, so to speak. So in terms of tonight's title of the episode, which is Activating Our Infinite Potential, Your Infinite Potential, what are some of the key things right off the bat that you think people should know about if they're interested in the process of activating their quote-unquote infinite potential?
Well, we have to explore the whole concept of freedom and being free on the planet. And many of us, we think we're free until we realize how deep the rabbit hole goes. And when we talk activating your infinite potential, a lot of us are alive, but we're not living, we're not feeling alive. And when people start doing what they love, when they start living their passion, when they realize that there is only now, then you begin to activate your infinite potential, because you realize that we came here to be free on the planet. So to activate it, we just have to remember and always question, why did I come to planet Earth? The more you question, the more is revealed to you.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think is really exciting about this process, and undoubtedly has led a lot of people to where they are right now, which in this case is listening to us talk about this type of stuff here on Paradigm Shift Radio. But it's really interesting because when you start to put out that vibration, that intention, that idea of, I'm interested in learning more about this reality, I want to know, I want to understand more, I want to see more of the mystery, then the universe itself is like, okay, all right, we've been waiting, and then it starts like moving stuff towards you. You know what I mean? And things start coming into your path and crossing your life. Like, yeah, I mean, just sort of bounce some ideas off here. I'll feel free to jump in. But yeah, you know what I'm saying.
That's everything is in divine alignment, and as we change our own vibrational frequency, our external world is nothing more than a projection from our minds. That's why we have to realize that our thoughts and words hold power. We live in the world we're thinking of. Whatever we're thinking, we're creating. And once you realize that you are a powerful co-creator, then that's the aha moment, because now you realize you have to take 100% responsibility for your internal condition. And then from then on, then you can activate your infinite potential. When you realize that you are creating every single feeling and emotion within your body.
Yeah, even some of your sorry, Ralph, I just got to mention just because I can hear it. Do you have headphones on, or can you put headphones on if you don't?
Okay, I can put headphones on.
Sure. Okay, I'll just...
Okay, hold on, let me put my headphones on.
Go ahead. I'll just reiterate this if I need to. But what I was going to say, Ralph's been making videos for quite a while, like he said, going back to 2008. And again, I'll post his YouTube. Sorry for the choppiness. I'll post his YouTube into the live chat for the people to check out. And again, it's youtube.com/KemetPrince, KemetPrince1. So KemetPrince1, or I mean, obviously just like look up Ralph Smart on Google or whatever. But one of his earliest videos was just talking about fear and just what he's talking about now, and obviously that's stuff that's come across his path, and he's quite educated as well. He has his BA, and I think he's still searching for his headphones, possibly. So in the meantime, okay, we're back. Perfect. All right, everything is in place. I was just reminding people to do YouTube, but again, yes, talking about the idea of thoughts create reality, because that is the big paradigm shift, because it opens up this question of, well, wait a second, if thoughts create reality, then what potential does that put in our laps? And it's just like, whoa, like, because obviously at that point you realize that you don't have to be a victim of circumstance, but you become your own creator. And again, like, this is stuff anybody who's watched Ralph's videos, like, this is stuff you're talking about. But I mean, yeah, just remind me again of how awesome we are, Ralph.
Right. We just have to realize that the power lies in our hands. And the irony of the situation is that after I had studied, I realized I didn't know anything. I had to go back, because many of us, we're not going within. I always say study everything, but study yourself first. The root word of education comes from the Latin educare, which means to bring out. And that's why it doesn't matter if you have a degree or a master's. All of these are man-made concepts and terms. I had to go through it to realize that, wait a minute, this is not who I am. This person who you think you are, the person coming from the Greek persona. So a lot of us, what's happening is that we have an identity crisis on the planet. That's the biggest problem. And once you realize that, who is labeling you? Because once you say, I am this, I am from this country, I am this race, you're actually creating division. More so, you're running a program. And you free yourself by letting go of all dogma, letting go of all authority, and stepping into who you are, which is the infinity that exists in the universe.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that you actually brought up, I believe it was in one of your recent videos, or at least one that I watched recently, it was the idea of how not to care what other people think about you. That video was really interesting for me, because I think, and just to create some interesting discussion and conversation here, I don't know, I mean, it's obviously anybody who watches anything, you don't have to agree with everything that everybody says. It's all information. Think for yourself. And in this case, that's what I was doing, and watching Ralph's video, I was just like, with the idea of like not caring about what other people think about you, then yes, that does like liberate you into this idea of becoming your more authentic self and not being held down by restrictions and dogma and authority in that sense. But at the same time, and maybe Ralph, you were already saying this just in a different way. In the same time, I think caring about what other people think about you actually places a sense of responsibility upon you, because you realize that there's something magical when you can actually be involved in the growth of someone else's character, so to speak, in the sense that you can help them like family. So I mean, when other people might look to you in a positive way, then yes, I think it's important to care and to recognize that, like, hey, I've got some responsibility to help out those I care about, and those you care about. I mean, this can just be within your group, your circle of friends. So I mean, it's building character is what we do in this life over time. Definitely. Ralph, go ahead, jump.
Definitely, we just have to see it like this. I always tell people that it's not about agreeing or disagreeing with anyone. It's just about listening. And not letting our judgments get in the way, because many people, instead of listening, they're thinking. So a lot of the times we just have to see it like this. Once you can tap into your authenticity, then you let go of the fear of what other people think. Yes, we have a responsibility to help inspire the planet. Everyone should be doing that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what's happened to so many of us is that we are scared. We are afraid because we are worried what other people are going to think, how they're going to judge us. And because of this prevents us from doing anything. I say, this is not the time to keep quiet. This is the time to express yourself like never before, because the gates have been opened. Right now in the information age, We can all feel the quickening. We can all feel the vibration. So it's just amazing once you tap into the inner you, which is waiting to come out. And the only way you can do that is to let go of fear, which is false evidence appearing real.
Right.
Because if you want to please everyone, then you only end up hating yourself, because that's impossible. You have to stay 100% true to yourself and inspire humanity at the same time.
Yeah, and it's not as daunting as it sounds in the sense that, with the tools that we got, it's totally possible. I mean, guys such as Ralph, guys like me, and guys like so many other people, and I use the term guys just like ambiguously, but so many other people. Now, what Ralph is saying, now is the time to just utilize the tools within our reach and to be able to just share the message. And I'll get more detail specifically into that, just in terms of how that relates to the evolution of the paradigm shift communities and the recent work I've been doing on the website. But what are some other, perhaps, from your words, Ralph, I want to hear it from you, what are some other things for us to keep in mind in terms of activating our potential? I mean, in terms of, because I think obviously a big part of this is self-reflection. And that's something that, again, it takes a choice. It takes a choice to look within oneself. But that is a huge part of the spiritual growth that everyone is going through. So yeah, what that in itself.
Sometimes you need a breakdown to get a breakthrough. Sometimes you need that dark night of the soul. In our darkness, we become illuminated. I say the secret to humanity's problem is self-love. That's a secret. If everyone on the planet could fully embrace themselves, then we would have a better planet Earth. What's happened is that many of us were externalizing our power, but many of us, we don't love ourselves. So if you don't love yourself, not only will you love anybody else, but you become self-destructive. So the secret is self-love. And more so, we have to realize that, like you said, self-reflection is key, because you have to press pause. You have to stop a minute. And a lot of the times, we have to see that you have to be alone. I say being alone is where you connect back to yourself. You reconnect back to yourself. You help remember who you are. So we mustn't be afraid of being alone, because all the people, what you're doing, what I'm doing, what other people are doing, helping raise the vibration, you have to go into that cocoon. That is the metamorphosis. Nobody is going to hold your hand, but that's the path of every alchemist. You have to embrace times in nature, because nature helps harmonize us. You tune your senses in nature. So we have to really reconnect back to nature, because there is nowhere else to go.
Sorry, that last part sort of glitched out. I wasn't sure if you were done.
We have to return back to Mother Nature, because
Yeah.
there is nowhere else to go.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we are. Definitely. Cool. I was just going to say, for people in the live chat, in terms of what we have Ralph here, let us know if you have any particular questions, and just put them in the live chat now, or send me a private message to Paradigm Shift Radio through the blog talk, and we'll try and get those to Ralph. I'm sure there's plenty of people within the 27 users in the live chat who would have some questions. So again, just remind you guys to throw those our way, and there's some stuff that I definitely do want to bring up in terms of cultivating energy, and you mentioned the word like alchemy earlier, and I think this has a big part to do with it, because it's super key. It's so key, and it's something that we have talked about on Paradigm Shift Radio in the past, and it's something that I think having Ralph on to talk about it is very valuable. He's quite knowledgeable in it, but it's the topic of just being aware of how potent our sexual energy is and what that actually means. So Ralph, can you just remind us about that?
Sexual energy is the force permeating everything in existence. And we have to remember that sexual energy is life force itself. Therefore, the more your life force increases, the more your sexual energy increases. What's happened is that on the planet, many people are suppressing their sexual energy due to their attitude on sexual energy. Many of us, we see sexual energy through perverted eyes. So this actually stops our interaction with our own sexual energy. So the secret of it is that you have to change your beliefs about sexual energy. It's all BS belief systems. Once you can see sexual energy as something very pure, then sexual energy opens up within you. You feel sexual energy, then that also mirrors itself within your life. To activate sexual energy, we have to cultivate it. It helps cultivating it with someone else. Someone that helps you become the greatest version of yourself. When you have this marriage of the yin and the yang essence. And that is a true marriage. And once you can work together with someone else, you also grow because they can help you discover more about yourself and vice versa.
Absolutely, yeah. So, I mean, just bringing it back to the basics in terms of like sexual energy for everybody listening, that's directly in a lot of ways referring to, for males, like the seminal fluid that we keep within our testes, and that is released when we go through the process of ejaculation. And there's a big secret there, and it's something, again, and that's why I want to remind people of it, because it's not something that really gets brought up here too often, just in general. But it is this idea that it's like the hermetic cup. It's the cup itself is very symbolic. It is like the elixir of life, and this energy that is actually like the seminal fluid in the testes, and in female it's there as well, but just like in different ways. But that in itself, if we can not spill our cup, it gives males an incredible opportunity to work specifically with like that male energy, which is in itself quite different from the female energy. It's direct, as Ralph explained, and female is like far more like creative and curvy. So again, passing it over to Ralph. Like, Ralph, what can you tell us about like cultivating male sexual energy specifically?
Well, semen is life force, and it is the ambrosia, the gift from the universe. We have to remember that a lot of the times, once you exhaust all of your energy, especially semen, foolishly, what happens is that you have a lot to pay back to your body. So unless you're replenishing those nutrients, your whole mental focus will be off. So there's nothing wrong in terms of, exploring your own sexual energy, but you have to realize that cultivating the energy does amazing things, because you also are learning through that process. You are learning more about your own body. And we have to realize that many people don't realize that there are cycles within everything. Animals only mate at certain times of the year. What's happened is, in this society, we've become hyper-sexualized. So many people are masturbating, releasing seminal fluid in their sleep due to what they're watching during the day. Because the dreams we have are reflections of the life we live. Therefore, we have to be very vigilant about what we're watching, what we're focusing on. But it's amazing when you can really feel the power of your own energy, and just to realize that all the glands, you have 7 glands within the body. They're all connected. So if you are releasing a lot out of the sexual organs, then the other 6 glands have to compensate. So you have to even look at your diet, because everything is connected. It's not just about becoming a monk in a monastery, but it's also about seeing that your own diet can also give you life force. The air that you breathe, clean breathing spaces, the music that you listen to, all of this is part of the sexual energy. In essence, the great illusion of separation. So I always tell people that semen is compressed sunlight. When you begin,
go ahead.
You begin to see that, once you begin to see that, you realize, okay, that's how it works, because semen is the water fluid, and that is symbolic of the rain. So when the rain comes down to the soil, it impregnates the soil, and you get plants, you get growth. So it is truly magic, and once you realize the power of it, then you really appreciate it, and you see that, in essence, it is life itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not even just metaphorically, like literally. I mean, within the seminal fluid, we know this. Just everybody knows this. Like that it creates life. Life comes out of that. Like it doesn't come out of anywhere else specifically. I mean, that in itself is just so obvious. Yet all this other information just about how interconnected it is just to the rest of the human, the vitality of our body, that has been forgotten or just like swept aside in terms of what society reminds us of. Society will never really like tell us oh, don't forget to be more aware of your vital energies and hold on to your elixir or whatever, just if that's what you're working with. But even
because
just
it's a fast food culture.
Go ahead. Yeah,
it's one instant gratification, and that's why you don't see a lot of tantra videos, but you'll see porn that's selling by millions, because people want fast and easy. That's why even on YouTube, a lot of people make their videos short just due to the concentration span of the average listener, which is about three minutes. So that's what we want, many of us in this society. However, there is a shift which is happening, and more people are embracing their sacred sexuality. And because of that, they're becoming empowered. They're becoming lighter. They're becoming freer. They're becoming... That's why they bombard you with sexual images on the internet 24/7, because through this, even if you're not masturbating, if you're a man or a woman, you're taking it into your subconscious. So it's coming up into your dream space. You see? That's why a lot of people, it doesn't matter what you do during the night. Also, it matters what you do during the night time. Mm-hmm. You see, because at that stage, once it goes into your subconscious, there's not much you can do. It's just a program which is running. And a lot of the people who are behind this, the architects, they're very aware of this esoteric information, that whatever your eye sees goes into your subconscious mind. Mm-hmm. That's why advertisers, they make a video 30 seconds, but at the same time, it's full of subliminal programming.
Again, going back to the idea of like deprogramming, removing the unnecessary programs that are just like already ingrained into our system, and how to go about doing that. I think working with one's sexual energy is an excellent path for anybody to consider, specifically the males. I mean, I can speak for that side myself, being a male. So I think if anybody here is listening to the show, then I definitely do encourage you to put some thought towards how you're working with your seminal fluid, your sexual energy, and just to consider the idea of just working with it as a practice of discipline. So, I mean, why do you need to masturbate? Obviously, like, it feels good to ejaculate and have an orgasm, but that's not something you need. So, I mean, if it's something that you can remove as, like, a temptation, not to remove as a temptation, but to acknowledge and then, like, move past, then that's something that over time, it will definitely refine your willpower and also help you refine your patience. And that in itself, plus like the idea that you're becoming lighter, you're taking on this more light, you're bringing this vitality into your being, it transmutes, and going into the theme of alchemy, and I'll pass this off to Ralph in a second, it transmutes into creative energy that we can use to help do what we got to do on this planet, to help shift consciousness, to help like take care of our loved ones, whatever it is. Just being more aware of that energy, and just being like how and just being aware that we can like transform out, like through alchemy, like transmutate that energy into other forms of life force energy, be it creative or be it anything. So yeah, Ralph, like in terms of like, yeah, I mean, alchemy, that's a term that I think is still pretty ambiguous for people. How does that relate to sexual energy and more?
Right. Well, a lot of people, when they think of alchemists, they think of someone turning lead into gold, or the Philosopher's Stone, or Harry Potter. Alchemy, in a nutshell, is just the process of transformation, moving from a caterpillar into a butterfly. It's the metamorphosis, and converting negative energy into positive energy. So in relation to sexual energy, we can use our raw sexual energy, that burning sexual energy, and you can refine that, and you can do amazing creative work once you have that energy. Once you utilize it, once you channel the sexual energy, and even aggression, not just sexual energy, but anger as well, can be used in alchemy as a great tool to produce diamonds. Because like in mythology, you don't kill the dragon, you slay the dragon, which is your low energy, your lower nature, so you ride it. That takes you to wherever you want to go. So we have to remember that nothing is negative in terms of when we talk of sexual energy, but we have to use it. We have to use that fuel. We have to put the petrol in the car, take us to wherever we want, to help us tap into a higher nature. But it all with
Sorry, Ralph, say that part again. I mean, you have been a little bit choppy here and there. That time was just like bonus choppy.
Yeah. We have to see the gift of it. We have to see that there is a science to everything. The word science comes from the Latin scire, which means to know. So we all have to become scientists. And to see that there is, within everything, there is something deeper there. Always. What's happening on the planet, many of us, we're just looking at surface, and we're not taught in school. And that's what I tell people a lot of the times. The greatest things you will learn won't be in school. It will be with yourself, in nature, or talking to kindred spirits.
Cool. Well, so far, again, I think in terms of the theme of activating our infinite potential, definitely that in itself, I mean, okay, Ralph, in your opinion, is it possible to quote-unquote activate your infinite potential without being consciously aware of what you're doing with your sexual energy? Or is it like one and the same? It's hand in hand with that path?
It's one and the same. You have to be conscious. To be conscious means to become aware. And you need that awareness, because if you're not aware, then you're asleep. And many of us, we have been asleep. I have. And the moment you become awakened, and yes, there are infinite levels of awakening, but once you pierce the veil, now you're conscious, now you have this awareness, so you can become the greatest version of yourself. But you have to be aware, because if you're not, then you're just going to be a sleepwalker. And that's how so many of us are turning out on the planet. But at the same time, this shift which is happening is really such an amazing time in humanity's story. Because now it's possible. Just look at us right now, we're connecting just in a flash. And technology is only going to continue to grow. And it's going to remind us that we are the original internet. The internet is our DNA.
Yeah.
You see. So all this internet is just a mirror. It's showing us who we actually are.
Yeah. And again, people will be asking, well, like, how do I awaken? Obviously, yes, there's a lot that will go on personally within the choices that you make, but at the same time, I mean, how are a lot of the people waking nowadays? Through the media, through our media, through the videos that Ralph is making, through the thousands of people that are seeing that, through the people that are tuning in to Paradigm Shift Radio, and that process in itself, it is consciousness doing whatever it can to wake itself up. Like, that's what it is. That's what the show is. That's what we are. We are, like, literally gods with amnesia, if you want to put it that way. And Ralph, like, that was a big, you had, and I suggest people go back and go to Ralph's videos, go to his earliest videos and check out the series that he did, The Return of the Gods, which is based on a variety of work. Like, Ralph, maybe can you just sort of, just talk about that, like what you were trying to express with that video series that you put out?
I was saying that we are all co-creators. We are the architects for our own reality. We are creating our own reality. A lot of people will say, no, that's not true, because there's what's happening and we're not taking part of that. We're not taking part in that. But at the same time, we have to realize that what the media do is that they give us things to think about, so we help create their own reality. We have to create our reality. But the return of the gods was just about realizing that we are truly sovereign beings. We are free. And being free is our birthright. And once we realize that, all of these stories in mythology, they go back to a real story where you had human beings. We not only had lives, we had times and more. We could do phenomenal things. We're attracted to superheroes because deep down we have that power. We go and see the X-Men. We go and see all kinds of superhero films because we're attracted to that power, because deep down that power lies within us. And that's what the Return of the Gods was. It's just reminding us that we can do so many phenomenal things. We just have to allow it. And that's why people have to know themselves. More so, they have to question their belief systems.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Okay, Ralph, I have a question for you that's sort of a concise or a reiterated version of just a conversation that someone's having with me in the live chat. And one thing that I will just remind people of in the live chat for anybody who is there, to please feel free to post your Facebook profiles. And when you do, consider that an invitation for anybody else who is in the live chat, who you might already be chatting with, to connect with you, to add you as a friend on Facebook, so that by listening to Paradigm Shift Radio, you're actually extending your branches and connecting with more like-minded people here across the World Wide Web. So feel free to do that. And of course, just make new friends. That's what Paradigm Shift Radio is all about, family. So what I was going to say, Ralph, in terms of a question, I think this is a scenario that is actually far more common than we sort of ever talk about or realize. Okay, this is a scenario. So say you're just like a 16, 17, 18-year-old male or female, and you're going through school, and school's trying to like tell you that this is important, but part of you just feels that you're drawn more towards like a spiritual path, so to speak, or you're just not finding yourself interested in what the school, the institution, is providing you with, but at the same time, you don't really have a chance to just escape from it, and you're not really sure about where your future is going, what career you might go into, and there's also the possibility that these institutions might be trying to like put you on prescription drugs or Ritalin or anything like that. For people who are in some sort of similar scenario where there's this battle against uncertainty, what do you suggest? What can you say to them to help them step forward on their own path towards activating their infinite potential?
I've come from a background of working in schools. In fact, I used to work in a mainstream school. I used to work with autistic children in a mainstream school. So you see it firsthand when you're there teaching children. What we have to realize is that we have to use the system, not become used by the system. A lot of the times with the awakening happening right now, a lot of people realize that even with the college degrees, even if they have a degree, they have to pay back so much. So it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, you can use it just as a tool of how you really want to do. But at the same time, we have to always follow our intuition, because you don't have to go down that road at all. If you know what you have to do, you don't have to do it. I studied because at the time I didn't know what I wanted to do. All I knew was something to do with psychology. But through that, becoming a psychologist, I said, okay, I'm an infinite being. That's why I don't even talk about what I do. It's not important. Only the message. And then when people say, what do you do? Then I can go all into it. But we have to realize that you have to awaken to your calling. You have to listen to your inner oracle, because you have to stop comparing yourself to other people. Stop competing with other people. Once you do that, then it becomes a walk in the park. A lot of us, we're still holding on. The theme of Infinite Waters is to let go of society's expectations. And it's those people who are bold to do that get to find themselves that lie within. They get to create the paradise. Because we have to see that we're living in a matrix. It's all been designed. And once you are sure of that, then fulfill the dream. You see, many people are not sure of that. There's a difference between knowing the path there's a difference between walking the path and knowing the path. Once you know it, then that's it. Many people, they just hear stories, or they watch videos, or they read books, but they don't know it for themselves. So that's why a lot of us, we have to go through the system to really know the system. But if you have that deep intuition where you already know, then you don't have to suffer. You don't have to go through the treadmill, because a lot of people are losing lives out here in the matrix.
Yeah. No, stark reminder, definitely. I mean, for a lot of situations, I think it is a process of having to jump through hoops, but at the same time, you can jump through those hoops with like an infinite idea of the fact that even along your path, you still have the very real potential of connecting with other like-minded individuals who maybe people who you can spark up conversations with and like build camaraderie with. Because I mean, that's part of what we gotta do. Everybody's on their own path, their own schedule of awakening. But right now, it's a very exciting time, just because there is that synchronistic nature that is pulling us all together, and we're just becoming more empowered. And definitely,
the new paradigm
is
all about creating your own job. That's what a lot of people don't understand. We have to become the co-creators right now on the planet. If there's not a job that exists, you have to create that job, because now is the time for the age of the artist. A lot of people even ask me sometimes, what are you doing? What do you do? I'm creating. I'm breathing. That's what I do. Now,
what? Sorry, say that again. What'd you say?
A lot of people say, what do you do?
What'd you, yeah, okay, go ahead. And what do you say?
I'm creating. I'm breathing.
Yes.
I breathe. They say, what do you do? I say, I breathe. That's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
Because you see, a lot of times human beings, we end up complicating life. I always say the truth is simple, lies are complicated. All we have to do on this planet is just to experience. That's all we're here for, just the experience, because we are the universe experiencing itself. Carl Sagan tried to tell humanity. You see, that's what it goes back to. We are just the cosmos experiencing itself. So we have to remember that. And once you know that, then life just becomes a party. You take back 100% power.
Oh, yeah.
You wake up feeling great because guess what? You wake up whenever you want. You don't have to go to work. You create your own work. You create your own business.
Yeah.
But at the same time, to get there, you have to have a lot of knowing, not belief. Knowing. There's a difference between belief and knowing. Belief is where you need that confirmation. It's faith. Knowing is where you've already done it.
Yeah, I think what you're hitting upon there is definitely super key in terms of, again, activating our infinite potential. Because, a lot of people, they might be asking, or they might be in a situation I talked about earlier. And I think being creative, getting creative in whatever way you choose is one of the most important things that you can do, one of the most empowering things that you can do. It just adds a lot of value. So, a lot of value to your experience. You become more invested in it. You become more emotionally involved with it. Not in a bad way, but you start to become passionate about what it is that you're bringing into this reality. Because, everybody here has a creative aspect to them. And maybe if they don't think that they do, then maybe that's something that they can just work on getting more in touch with. So, Ralph, maybe let's just hit on that topic. And then I'd like to sort of branch into another style of conversation just for the last bit that we have you on the show here. And I have a series of questions that are sort of like, not like rapid fire, but I'll explain them once we get to them. But we'll do that afterwards. Ralph, just to sort of wrap up on the theme of activating our infinite potential, how can people become more in touch with that creative nature that is already within them?
We have to go to the place where we find our greatest power. Any talent you have to place value on it. You have to give yourself your own unique value system. Give yourself your own definition. And once you do that, then you tap into your creativity. More so, the secret is letting go of perfection. Once you can let go of perfection, and let go of judging yourself to say this is negative, this is positive, in essence, you just embrace the experience and the art of creation itself. You have to move past self-doubt. That is the biggest thing that is stopping many of us on the planet awaken. Self-doubt. That is the biggest thing which is stopping many of us activate our infinite potential. Self-doubt. You have to realize that, and that is linked into fear. We have to remember that you have to let love guide you, not fear. The reason why many of us have fear is because we are attempting to escape the present moment. So therefore, we have to become in tune with our body. We have to develop a greater body awareness through meditation, through breathing, through going out into nature, connecting with great kindred spirits, losing your mind and coming to your senses.
Again, yeah, just riding that wave of the infinite waters, the flow. Yeah, because again, life's definitely a sine wave. It's about like the ups and the downs, the dark night and the rise to return to the sun once again. So awesome stuff, and I hope you guys go back and listen to this again should you choose to, and just really embody a lot of what Ralph is talking about here tonight, and just doing whatever it is that you feel that you need to do to become more inspired and to allow that inspiration to ripple out through your life and the lives of those around you. And step by step, day by day, that's how we change the world. So Ralph, I just want to say thank you again so much for being on the show with us here. And what I'd like to do now...
You're a great host.
Thank you.
You have a great show, and thank you for what you're doing, because humanity needs people who are putting themselves out there. It's not easy, because I know even preparing for this show, a lot goes into what you're doing. But we appreciate it. And more people, if you're out there listening, because we're living right in the most amazing time of human history.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, every everything is just practice, and every great training, every great challenge is just training for the next one, is something I say. So I mean, as we prepare for the future, let's practice and play in the sandbox that is like Paradigm Shift Radio and more. So again, thank you to all our listeners for being with us right now while it's live, and of course those of you tuning in into the future as well. So time is relative, and we're all in this together. So Ralph, what I'd like to actually do, this is something I had come to mind a few weeks ago, and I'm actually running with the idea of working with this format and doing something on stage at like a local pub or a local bar, something like that. And we've actually done this back in 2011, and if people go to paradigmshiftcentral.com/story, they can read up on some of the genesis of Paradigm Shift Central, and on part 3 or 4 it talks about this show that we did, and it was live on stage, and I was hosting it, and it was myself with 3 guests on stage, and infinite amount of topics and collective educational discourse. Well, I've sort of evolved on that idea, and what I'm going to work with is what we're going to do here tonight. And it's this idea of sort of going through these questions that will activate a response within the person who hears them, and they will have their own unique answer, and it's a process of self-reflection in a lot of ways. So what we'll do here, as an example, this is kind of like what are the 3 things that you would bring to an island with you, if everybody sort of heard that style of question. So what I would like to do here, Ralph, well, first of all, let me just ask, are you okay sticking around for a bit, or do you...
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool.
Let's flow and just...
Let's flow. All right, okay, so what we'll do here, when I ask these questions, for people listening as well, we'll actually, Ralph will just take a moment of silence just before he responds to give everybody a chance to just sort of like allow a response to activate within themselves. So one question that I'll ask you, Ralph, and then if you can give like a short response, like a concise response, that's what we'll aim for here, and then I'll just jump on to the next question. So we'll see like how many questions we can get through in the next few moments. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sort of thing? Okay, cool. All right. Okay. So, for as concise of an answer and as creative of an answer as you can provide, here are the questions that I'll ask. So, for everybody listening, think about this yourself. So, first question I'll ask you, Ralph: are ghosts real?
Yes.
Okay. On to the next question. All right. Okay. What does a good breakfast consist of?
Raw food.
Raw food. Important diet. Okay. All right. Maybe it doesn't have to be like super, super concise. Like maybe a couple sentences or something.
Right.
Just to give people like bonus insight. Go ahead. Yeah.
Full of color, green. Anything which is full of enzymes, kale, juice, vegetables.
Okay. All right. Okay. So again, this is just like a generic question. If you could go to another country tomorrow, where would you go?
Back to Brazil.
Back to Brazil.
Because I have to go there for the 3rd time.
Okay. All right. Okay. Next question. Have you seen a UFO?
I have seen things in the sky which are strange. I would say yes, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people have seen things that would classify as UFOs. So maybe we'll go back to that topic on a future episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. We've had some popular discussion about that in the past. So keep your eyes on the skies, boys and girls. All right. Okay. Next question. Okay. All right. Okay. Next question I have is: should we trust our government?
No, because government means the governmental. We have to govern our own mind, become our own government. That's what sovereign being is.
Right. Okay, next question. Who or what is God? That's a big one, but it's so simple.
God is energy. God is movement. You are God, and God is everything.
God is movement. Yeah, I like that. All right. Next question. Magnets, how do they work?
They work through resonance and attraction. And by 2 forces with a similar frequency coming together.
Okay. All right. And again, everything is a metaphor for everything, so keep that in mind. All right. Having fun here. Okay, so next question, is change our nature?
Yes, change is the only absolute in the universe. Otherwise, there would be no universe because it's expanding. We are expanding. We are change.
Okay. All right. This is a good one. Okay. Okay. First of all, actually, I have to ask because I didn't mention this earlier. Ralph, have you ever read the book The Alchemist? That's not like a question, but yeah. Okay. All right. No, I figured you have. I mean, it's been. I'm in the process of reading it. It's been brought up on past episodes. Okay, but this question is sort of relative to that. So, Ralph, the question is, where is the treasure buried?
Deep within yourself. And once you see it in yourself, you see it in other people, but it's just a reflection of you.
Okay. All right. What is 432?
That is the universal frequency of the universe, a special sound frequency which many buildings, ancient buildings, they were built, they produce that similar frequency inside of it, tuning forks.
Nice. All right. What is your favorite thing to cook?
I love making buckwheat.
Sorry, say that again. Buckwheat?
I love making buckwheat. Buckwheat.
Remind us again, what is buckwheat?
Buckwheat is actually a fruit seed of the rhubarb genealogy, and it is fantastic. It looks a bit like couscous, but it is packed full of nutrients. I like making that.
Nice. Okay. All right. Okay. This one. Answer as personally as you feel, as you want to. But the question is, when was the last time you cried?
The last time may have been maybe a couple of months ago. Why did I cry? I was crying maybe. I can't even remember why. Maybe it was thinking about people I love. Sometimes it can just bring great feelings, tears of joy.
Well, that's nice. That's a good reason to cry. Yeah. All right. Semi-related, but a question in itself.
State of the world.
All right. All right. What hides in the shadows?
Your greatest power.
Oh.
The shadow of self, which many of us are afraid of, is where all our treasure is buried. So embrace your shadow self.
Okay. All right. Okay, this question's kind of... Actually, this will make a nice segue. Okay, serious question here, Ralph. Rafflecopter or roller skates?
Okay, yeah, roller skates, whatever. Yeah. I like skating, so that's great.
I was about to say. Yeah, that was in one of your videos. What you're wearing those roller skates, but they're not roller skates. What are those called?
Those are free-line skates, and they're amazing. They're new kinds of skates. I grew up skating, but these are the evolution of skating, free-line skates.
I gotta try me some of those, yeah, because it's like the balls have like a 360-degree like axis, or no, not how to. I mean, it's something like that, but between the two of them, there's a lot of range.
Yeah, they're not connected to your feet.
Yeah,
but it's just fun. Just Google it, and you can see everything about it.
Nice. And if people Google freeline skating and Ralph Smart in one search, your video come up?
Yeah. I've been on the BBC. I've done shows skating, teaching people how to do it. So
that's awesome. All right, so that's a big important paradigm shift news there to get everybody like skating, whether it be freeline skates or skateboards or anything. Get some wheels. Yeah, have fun. Exactly. Yeah, going back to the theme of freedom, I think that's definitely something both myself and Ralph are familiar with. Just like the freedom that you can get by something as simple as like having a skateboard underneath your feet and going down a hill and feeling the breeze against your skin. It just reminds you that you're alive. It's a beautiful thing. So. All right. Okay. We'll just go through a couple more of these, Ralph, and then I actually do have something that I want to close out on. So again, we'll just do a couple more, and then we'll go from there. So, okay, this is kind of a big question. If you could choose your own death, what would you choose? Like how to die, so to speak.
Right. Well, it would just be lying in a park, just with my eyes closed, and transitioning to and the next dimension.
Yeah, just very like meditatively. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that would definitely be a way to experience that transition, that phase into that other realm that we so commonly call death. So, all right. Okay. What is the biggest conspiracy of all?
It would have to be that everything that you see is all there is. And we are just here just to work, and that's it. You see, and because that in itself is what a lot of people don't realize, See,
right, the illusion of separation. Yeah. Like I definitely agree. Like, yeah, the conspiracy of separateness, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah. That's a conspiracy, man. All right.
Right.
Okay. Okay. This will be the last question. All right. Who inspires you, Ralph?
I'm inspired by everyone who is becoming the greatest version of themselves. Everyone who is elevating themselves. Life in itself is inspiring. Walking outside. There's so many people. Even what you're doing is inspiring. So many people out there who are even on the internet. So many other people. Great Paulo Coelho, who wrote The Alchemist. Dr. Phil Valentine, phenomenal insight. A lot of people. Also, I always say nature in itself is the greatest inspiration. And everyday people that I don't even know in the streets, I just go past them and I say, wow, that's inspirational.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So yeah, you, the people, are the inspiration for the people. Collective inspiration all around. That's definitely what is taking place, and that's definitely what Paradigm Shift Radio is about. And Ralph, thank you so much for being with us here on the show. Now, it is after midnight where you are, so you are welcome to get some rest as you please. I was just going to mention, but before we go, unless you really want to stick around, because theoretically, if you feel the choice to stick around, we could invite some people on air to talk with you briefly and to ask some questions. I'm sure there'd be some people who love the chance to rest. But sorry, you chopped out there. What was that?
Okay, you were breaking up out a bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think we were both breaking up there. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. It's just the sound is coming in and out. I can call back in. If that's easy.
Okay. Yeah, it's block talk. Okay, you can
I'll,
hear what?
I'll call back in.
No. I think it's okay. It should be okay. You're still there, right, Ralph?
Okay, I'm here. So
yeah, I think it's okay. Yeah. Okay. So sorry. Would you want us to go for a bit? Give people a chance to call in and ask you a question or run something past you?
Yeah, that's fine. That's no problem.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I think let's maybe give the people, if we're not in too much of a rush, what we actually wanted to do, Ralph, whether we play this now or decide to play it later, on your YouTube channel, one of the earlier videos that you have on there is actually a song that you produced, and music is obviously something else that you're quite versed in. And I actually have it loaded up, and it's something that I was pleasantly surprised by, and I'd love to be able to share it with our listeners. It's the song Until It's Gone. Ralph, what do you think? Should we play that song now and give people a chance to dial in, or should we bring on some callers and play that as you leave the show?
Oh, you can play it now.
Should we do that? Okay, so we'll do that now. And everybody listening, feel free to just sort of stretch your legs, grab a glass of water, and we'll come back shortly after, and we'll continue the conversation with Ralph Smart for a little bit longer. And then within the last bit of the show, I'm sure we'll have some time to invite anybody else onto the show and also go over some of that community news that I want to mention to you guys. But Ralph, before we play this, is there anything people should know about this song in particular?
Well, it was made quite a long time ago, but I had a lot of fun making it, and it's just about raising the vibration, becoming the greatest version of yourself, and realizing that it's now or never, even though we are immortal, but you have to do it. Go for it.
Definitely. That's awesome that even with the work that you were doing then, it's still this process of just integrating all these paradigm shifty themes into it. I think that's really awesome. So a reminder for anybody who's listening to the show right now, please feel free to call in and get a chance to speak to Ralph live on air while he's here with us. You can call in at the actual host number, which is 347-539-5493. Again, 347-539-5493. Or you can call in using Skype. If you log into Blog Talk, you'll see a Skype icon next to the host number. Feel free to click that, launch Skype, and you can dial in that way. And then press 1 on the number pad, and we'll see you queued up, and we'll be able to bring you live onto air once we get back from playing this song. So, again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Ralph. I'm just going to mute your microphone, and we'll come back shortly after this break. And the song's about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So, enjoy. This is Ralph Smart, Until It's Gone, live on Paradigm Shift Radio. Have fun.
Yeah, you need to laugh and smile. I see you smiling now. I see you smiling now. Check it out.
You never know what you've lost.
That's right. Until it's gone.
So I'm holding on to
Hold
it.
it.
Grab the moment. Never
Let it go. Yeah, check
This
it out.
lasts forever.
Hold it. Don't let it go. Make it last forever. Life, what's it all about? Live it and you'll find out. Everybody's searching, greedy for knowledge, but who's to blame when there is no right or wrong? Life is a journey, let it take you places. Broaden your horizons, don't be narrow-minded. Life is a miracle. Don't wonder why you're here, have no fear, 'cause
You never know what you've lost.
Yeah.
Until it's gone.
Woo.
So I'm holding on to
Sing it.
Grab the moment.
Yeah.
Never let it go. This lasts forever.
It's real.
You never know what you've lost until it's
cherish
gone.
every moment of it.
So I'm holding on to
Yeah.
it. Grab the moment. Never let it go.
Okay.
This
Okay.
lasts forever.
Love, never stop loving. Even if you love a tree, how can it be that they don't know love is the only answer? I said it before, don't make me say it again. When the world is crying, just look at the rain. It pours down, it doesn't fall down. Where did we go wrong? What happened to those sunny days? Let the sun shine. What happened to those sunny days? Sing it one more time.
You never know what you've lost.
Keep on telling you, man, till it's gone.
Holding on to it. Grab the moment.
Yeah.
Never let it
Sing
go.
it. Come
This
again.
lasts forever.
Yeah.
You never know what you've lost until it's gone.
Until it's gone.
So I'm holding
Until it's
on
gone.
to it. Grab the moment.
Yeah.
Never
Let it go.
This lasts forever. Live for the moment. Forget about the past. Look to the future. See what you can do with it. If you know you can be what you wanna be. Live for the moment. Forget about the past. Look to the future. See what you can do with it. If you know you can be what you wanna be.
They say you live in the world that you're thinking of. So I think of love, so I live in love. You see, life is full of choices, contradictions, big decisions. We started off as butterflies. As children, we could fly. No fence, no barrier. And some still flying, but most lying. head down, cause they lost their wings, lost their hope, their sense of I am, caught up in the midst of madness, thinking why is life filled with sadness? I know there's more, I know there's more. When I look at a rose, how can that not be love? When I look at a rose, how can that not be love?
You never know what you've lost until
You don't know, just until it's gone, cause that's how it goes. Yeah,
never let it
sing
go.
it.
This lasts forever. You never know what you've lost
Until it's gone, until it's gone.
So I'm holding on to
Hold it.
Grab the moment, never let it go. This lasts forever.
Feel it.
You never know what you've lost
Until it's gone, until it's gone.
So I'm holding
Then you
on
know,
to it. Grab the
then you know.
moment, never let it go. This lasts forever. Live for the moment, forget about the past. Look to the future, see what you can do with it. If you know you can be what you wanna be. Live for the moment, forget about the past. Look to the future, see what you can do with it. If you know you can be what you wanna be.
All right, so that was Until It's Gone by Ralph Smart live here on Paradigm Shift Radio. And this is kind of a peculiar thing to say, but if people are having trouble with the player in Blog Talk right now, for those of you listening live, just try refreshing the page, and that might fix some of the lag that was coming through. Some people were saying that the feed actually stopped entirely, but I think we are back and things are rolling, and we'll continue with the rest of the show. And before I bring Ralph onto the show, I just want to remind you guys that the Paradigm Shift Radio episodes can all be found on YouTube as well as including this episode. And I encourage you to go back and listen to it again on YouTube. For one reason, the audio quality of the song you just heard will be improved compared to Blog Talk, and we encourage you to share the YouTube episodes. And of course, go to ParadigmShiftCentral.com/donate to help contribute to the production that goes into creating these episodes and also to the hosting for the Blog Talk Radio that we have going on here. And your support is very important and greatly appreciated, and it helps with the continued effort that goes into creating consciousness shifting media. So with that said, thank you everyone for tuning in once again to Paradigm Shift Radio. And for those of you who would like a chance to talk to Ralph live on air, now is your chance. Reminder, call into the show 347-539-5493 or call in using Skype. So we got some people who are already lined up, so we're going to bring them on and we'll go from there. So Ralph, I'm going to bring you onto the air. Here we go. Hello Ralph, welcome back.
I'm here.
Awesome stuff, man. I'll just say with that song in particular, I like what you talked about, like in regards to the moon, being a Cancer myself. Wait a second, Ralph, aren't you a Cancer as well?
I'm a Pisces.
You're a Pisces? Oh, okay. For some reason I thought you were a Cancer. Right. Okay, but Pisces is water as well, right? Yes, obvious.
Water.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So yeah, a couple of water elementals having fun here. Actually, okay. One thing. And then I'll bring in this caller on just because it's fresh in my mind. But it's this idea in terms of going back to the original theme of activating our potential, and somebody else brought it to my attention, but I really liked it, so I'll just share it now. But it's this idea that within this existence, we all know the idea of astrology and how we have like different elements that are associated with the different characteristics of the zodiacs. The idea of spending time mastering the element that is yours, like your domain to begin with, and then once you like master that, so in this case, once Ralph masters water, then like moving on and beginning to like master the other elements as well, like mastering the elements of like fire, earth, and wind, or yes, and ether as well, and just kind of like what that means. But I don't know, Ralph. Do you have something?
Right.
Do you have a quick response to that?
A lot of times I always tell people that it goes beyond our star signs, because the zodiac, and even you had in the Bible, the 12 disciples are actually the 12 signs of the zodiac, but the sun, the S-O-N is the S-U-N, is the 13th. So the 13th is 13 is a powerful number, and that's the number of transformation, renewal, and rebirth. So once you align with the infinite nature of who you really are, you realize that you transcend star signs, and you go through all the star signs, you become all of them. You don't have any limitation, because if you are an infinite being and you are limited, then you're stopping your own expansion. Because we have to remember that we are multi-dimensional beings having a human experience. So to put a label on yourself is only an insult to the creator within yourself.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Cool. All right. So without, I think from there I agree, and just, again, just a reminder for people to just become more aware. Nasa te ipsum, know thyself. You know, that's what it's all about. So with that said, we're going to bring on a caller who's calling from area code 646. So caller from area code 646, if we're ready, we're going to bring you onto the air. And Ralph's going to hang out with us for about maybe 10, 15 more minutes. And and then we'll go from there. So caller from area code 646, we're going to bring you live onto Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Hello, caller. Can you hear us? Hello, caller. Can you hear us? Is there no caller here? It appears as if there's not. Okay, that's weird, because they actually were queued up. Okay, so just going to make sure that they're not there. But for somebody else who's in the queue, anybody else want to ask Ralph a question? Or for anybody in the live chat, maybe you have a particular topic in mind that you would like to ask Ralph? A reminder for people, because I can see 4 people in the queue right now. Okay, so we do have another person who's queued up and ready to go. So just a reminder for people in the queue, press 1 on your keypad to confirm that you want to be brought onto the air. So caller from area code 661, we are going to bring you onto the air, and it appears that this person is looking to come on. So here we go. Hello, caller, can you hear us?
I can. Hi.
Oh, hey, Paul, how's it going?
It's good. How are you guys?
We're great, man. Paul's in the UK as well. So Paul, and with Paradigm Shift UK, Paul, what would you what do you have to ask Ralph here tonight or talk to about? Go for it.
Well, just to say to Ralph, I studied the martial arts, I studied the Taoist arts and Tai Chi and whatnot, and your concepts are very refreshing. They're very similar to the Taoist concept, because the Tao just simply means the way, and you found your way and path. And I just wanted to say, your way is very cool.
Oh, thanks so much. Thanks. Well, it's great to connect with other people who are also finding their own power within, and that's what it's all about in the new paradigm, to really realize that in a world full of masters who rule, and realize that we're all eternal students. Nature is the true master. It's teaching all of us. We're all here in Earth School, as I call it, and that's the great thing. When we realize that none of us can do anything by ourselves. Right now is a time to reconnect. So it's great to hear so many people who are also doing their own part.
Well, it's and likewise, it's nice to I'm 43, and for many years, people always saying, "Oh, it's this way," or "You have to follow this path, you have to follow that path," and you have to realise, no, you follow your path, you find your way, what works best for you, and that's what's all for me. That's what's all important. Is I always say is I don't mind who you learn from, as long as you learn, as long as you find your own path, and yours is as great path to follow as any.
Right. Yeah, we have to really just follow our own heart and follow our own path, and realize that it's also about letting other people experience their own reality, because there are infinite ways to look at this world. You see? So.
Oh, indeed. And as you are immortal, you've got all the time in the universe to do that.
Yeah.
Right. We are all immortal. We're all energy, and we have no beginning or end.
Yeah, Ralph, I'm not sure if you've, this came up previously in past Paradigm Shifty stuff, but you're familiar with YOLO. We here at Paradigm Shift like to remind ourselves that Wolf, we only live forever. So,
right.
Feel free to use that one. Yeah. So.
That's great.
All right. Cool. Paul, you're welcome to stick around. I mean, I can probably keep you on the air as we transition. We don't have another caller who's queued up right now. If we do, I'll swap them out. So if there's another caller who does want to get in a final chance to ask Ralph some questions, please feel free to do so. But in the meantime, I do have a question from the live chat. So a question from the live chat by Smoking Galaxies. And after that, it looks like we have someone else ready to be brought on. The question that they have for you, Ralph, is when was the last time you marched into dark with only the soft glow of an idea you strongly believed in, and what was it and why? And Paul, I'm just going to mute you anyways, but I'll bring you back later. So sorry, Paul.
Nice.
Okay.
Well,
ahead,
I do that every time I'm creating something, making a video or writing. But the biggest time was when I wrote my novel Triumph and the Love of the Galaxy, because that took a long time to make, but I was just doing it. I didn't know how it was going to be published. I didn't know how it was going to get edited, but it's on Amazon. You know, it all came into fruition, but I knew it had to come out, and you know, I had a lot of fun writing it. But that was just, you're there, you're writing, but at the same time, I knew it was taking shape.
Yeah, that's really similar to how I felt about the Journey to Lucidity movie. And
right,
Ralph,
and congratulations for that, because that's a monumental work, and I know it would have taken a long time to do, because when people watch things, they just see it, but they don't realize what goes behind, you know, what goes on behind the scenes, you know, the endless nights of putting everything together. Sometimes you don't sleep, but it's worth it in the end, because
it is worth
you create
it,
great art.
Yeah. Both of us, I'm sure, have spent many long nights going through footage. But yeah, that's definitely that's the work of the magician, is to go through like this process of crystallizing an experience into something that is like tangible, that we can pass on and share. That is like a package of data, a package of knowledge, a package of experience. And in your case, be it, you know, a book or any of your videos. Ralph, I'll just, well, in themes of that, I was going to ask you in a couple minutes anyways, but what are some things that people can expect from the work that you're putting out in the future? Do you got any super awesome projects that you can tell us about in particular?
Well, I'm writing always, so there'll be a new book on the way. There's already a new book on the way, and also more animation and films on the way, more media in terms of just taking a different creative approach, and also connecting with other people, even here on Paradigm Shift Radio, working together with more people, and also I may be in the Jubilee Yoga Festival in Ohio, so in October.
Oh, cool.
So you can stay tuned for that. But yeah, right now it's just time for. I always tell people every day has to count, because you can't rest on your laurels, you know. So for me, just as long as I'm breathing and becoming the greatest version of myself, even if I'm not putting out any material, I'm still working behind the scenes always. Yeah,
definitely. And one thing, as crazy as it sounds, Ralph, you know, if this can happen, I'd be totally down for it. But I'm a dual citizen. I have dual citizenship to the UK, so there's a very real possibility that someday I might make my way over there. And if I do, who knows? Maybe we could end up working on something together. So as crazy as that sounds, I would love it. I mean, two powerhouses coming together, so to speak. Just who knows what will come out of that? But that would be a blast.
That's what the new paradigm is all about.
Coming together, and collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely. And just going back a couple steps, Journey to Lucidity, facebook.com/Journey to Lucidity. Feel free to check that out if you haven't yet. That's a full-length movie that was released not too long ago related to a lot of paradigm shifty stuff, and it's super inspiring, and Ralph Smart gives it 2 thumbs up. So there you go, guys. And thanks, Ralph. And let's bring on some other callers while we still have you here, Ralph. Just let me know when you got to go or whatever. But I know the people, they want their Ralph Smart, so we're going to give them the Ralph Smart while we got him. So caller from area code 646, we're going to try bringing you onto the air again, just to double check to give them a chance just in case. So caller from area code 646, we're going to try bringing you back onto Paradigm Shift Radio, and if not, we'll go to caller from area code 814. So here we go. Hello, caller. Can you hear us this time, possibly? No. Okay. All right. Thanks, caller from area code 646, and jumping over to caller from area code 814. Caller from area code 814, if you're ready, we're going to bring you on to Paradigm Shift Radio. Here we go. Hello, caller. Can you hear us?
Hey. How you doing?
Name, where are you calling from, and what would you like to bring to the show?
Okay, my name is Cornell Green. I'm calling from Erie, Pennsylvania. And the first thing I want to say is I've been following Ralph Smart on Facebook, and the biggest thing I want to say to Ralph Smart is it's really great to see a warrior of consciousness, a person is like really taking this universal shift and taking it in hand and really moving ahead with it and spreading the word to other people. It's incredible inspiration just to watch, this movement of this magnitude, acting out places like Facebook and on YouTube and even on Blog Talk Radio, But the biggest thing is a lot of times Ralph talks about how we create our own reality, and I just wanted to possibly get some practical considerations on how we can do that better, and what are some of the actual the factual ramifications or dynamics behind that concept.
Okay, so Ralph, did you get that? Oh, sorry. Actually, okay. Caller, I apologize. It looks like Ralph actually dropped. Let me just check. He is still on Skype, but we're just going to have to wait a second to see if he's about to call back in. But yeah, caller, I'll just wait to see if Ralph jumps back in so he can answer your question specifically. But what in particular is it about Ralph's videos that caught your attention in the first place?
Oh man, the biggest thing is that with this universal consciousness shift going on, there's a lot of different sources, a lot of disparate, different sources that kind of converge on like the same topic. And this is that one of the only sources of information that kind of bring all that together and kind of like take this on as a vehicle to take this particular concept on and push it forward, different ways throughout the world. So basically just that, you get a little bit here about the consciousness shift, you get a little bit over there, you get a little bit over there,
right.
But this is more like that central focus of the consciousness shift thing. I think it's a very real thing, but sometimes it's hard to pin down. Back when 2012 and the Mayan calendar happened, you had a little bit of it there, and you get a little bit of information if you look up stuff on the internet. And what it really seems to be, though, is consciousness is speeding up. It is making a great, wonderful change. And through astrology, you see some things like Uranus and Pluto squaring each other, and the Uranus-Pluto square at this time right now is very dynamic in comparison to other ones that happened in history, and it's created even a bigger social effect. So you see one person taking all this information on as a vehicle and say, I am the lightning rod of the universal consciousness shift, and taking that and pushing that forward. That's dynamic. You know what I mean? So
dynamic. I think dynamic is a really good word that you used there. And just letting you know, Blog Talk was being weird and you were coming through a bit choppy there, but we were able to definitely get the message using our bonus psychic abilities that we all already have. But definitely a caller. Just if you don't mind, just chatting with you for a second here to see if Ralph's calling back in. I am talking to him on Skype, so I think he's going to try calling back in a second. But yeah, I definitely think that a big thing with this shift that is happening right now is for us to be able to create vehicles for this knowledge, for this inspiration. And yes, that is exactly what Ralph is doing with his media. Like the media, my buddy had a good saying the other day, because I mean, there's the saying like the media is the message. Maybe he said the metaphor was the message. No, I think he said something else. But again, yeah, like the media is the message is definitely something that comes to mind, just in terms of like the effectiveness and just the magic that we can create by creating something that we can share with someone in like 10 minutes that has the potential to totally shift their paradigm, if I do say so myself. So I don't know, caller, feel free to call her. I mean, you're fairly well at articulating yourself. If you just want to use this moment to share any message of inspiration with the people listening, please feel free to do that.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
It's an honor, first off, to speak to like people as accomplished as yourself, Mr. Smart, and I'm like really ecstatic right now. But another thing about that is like, this consciousness shift. It seems like it's one of the most important things that a person of this age can really tune into. But the sad part is that there's not a lot of emphasis on it from any major media outlet or any number one source of information. This is all a grassroots thing. It's basically almost like there's a message to the universe that's saying, if we're to do this, we're going to have to do this ourselves. And that's huge, because we, for so long as a Western culture, as it's been developing, has been dependent on things outside of our communities and outside of ourselves. Media outlets, universities, conglomerates, media conglomerates, financial conglomerates, whatever you want to say, large institutions that are kind of impersonal and away from us. But it's almost like there's a contraction, a social contraction from all sides. It's basically saying, hey, if you want to find real power, the real power is inside you, and it's going to have to start there and re-expand again. And that's just an amazing thing. And I really think it's great that the internet allows us to connect with each other in such a dynamic way, so that we're able to basically use all of our energy, to basically, express this. I don't know, it's kind of nebulous, it's kind of new, and it's kind of hard to pin down, like I said before. But, it's a great, wonderful thing. You know what I mean? Just the whole dynamic of being able to connect with so many people at once with media, and at the same time, this is being our responsibility as people, and it comes to awakening at this time in history.
Definitely.
So that was pretty much it, man.
Nice, man. Yeah, absolutely. And I will just say, because we might not get too much time to speak about it later, and then I'm going to bring Ralph back on, who's still with us, just in terms of the importance of creating our own media. For everybody listening, keep an eye on ParadigmShiftCentral.com, because I have been doing a lot of updates with that, and that in itself is intended to be a network for us to share and create our own media, so that, we're not going to CNN, we're going to ParadigmShiftCentral.com and getting our fill of what everybody's up to, and just being inspired by the information that is coming to the surface and the action that is taking place as we all build the tribe and connect with our community. So, caller, I'm going to bring Ralph back onto the air, and maybe we can reiterate the question that you had for him real quick. So, Ralph, I'm going to bring you back on. Hello,
okay.
Ralph. Welcome.
Okay, I'm here.
All right. Ralph, did you hear his question before? Did you have an answer?
No.
Okay. All right. Caller, can you reiterate what you were asking?
Yes. First, I wanted to say again, Mr. Smart, that you're a great inspiration. I love watching you be the vehicle for the consciousness shift, and, just basically every day, as I'm your friend on Facebook, inspiring everyone to look inside themselves for the new answer for the next millennium, for this new age, this new phenomenon.
Thank you.
A change in social dynamics. And you and Hoster, you guys are rock stars, man. You guys are so important for, I think you're so important for what it really means to take this generation to the next level and forge this new awakening, forge this new concept of what it means to be the global community. And I just think that's wonderful. But my question to you, Mr. Smart, was, I hear a lot of you talking about how we create our own reality. I just wanted to get some more background information on what that exactly means, and how I can use that information or that concept to better fuel my own journey. What is it exactly that you mean when you say we create our own reality, and to what extent do we create our own reality based on principles of science and thought and the ego and the psyche? I mean, I don't know exactly which way it's going exactly, but I know that the nugget of information in there is very beneficial and very dynamic, and I respect it a great deal. And you too as well, sir.
Well, thank you for being you as well, and because the power lies within yourself. we have to ask, what is reality first and foremost? And if you ask someone what is reality, you're going to get totally different answers. But at the same time, many of us, we have what I call the hive mind. We have many people on the planet wanting to be normal, but what is normal? So when I talk of creating your own reality, it's giving yourself your own definition of what is real to you, because what is real for you may not be real for someone else. And that is why every day you're getting newspapers, you're getting fear in the media, wars here, wars there, because by them giving you something to think about, you are helping them create their reality. So creating your own reality is where you begin to ask the big questions of what is reality in the first place. What is it for me? And when you give yourself your own value system, when you give yourself your own code, a way to live, because everyone has a different way to live. But it's creating your own reality is where you see that you are the architect. You have to take responsibility for your emotions.
Yeah.
Take back your power. We don't have to blame outside of ourselves.
I think can I add something to what we got going on here, if you guys don't mind, caller?
Yeah, please.
Absolutely,
cool.
absolutely, sir.
What I think, again, going back to what Ralph brought up, the idea of what is reality, I think one of the answers that a lot of people can look towards, and you'll find big hints for this within the topic of dream exploration, is the idea that like we are much more than our physical body. And I've talked about this on the past episode, but I have no problem reiterating it. And each time I talk about it, I explain it a little bit differently, so it helps me talk about it. But it definitely is this process that, like, as consciousness, we are not actually from this third dimensional, like this density of reality, if that's, third dimension, if that's even what you want to call it. And where we're actually from is from a place where we innately already create with our thoughts, which is why when you're in a dream, if you think of an apple in your hand, there's the possibility of an apple appearing in your hand, yet there's also the possibility of it not appearing in your hand, because at that moment you are in full control of whether or not it does. And it's the thought processes that get in the way of believing that you can do it in the first place that prevent it from happening. So that's like a big part of what Ralph has been talking about here tonight, this idea of like letting go of fear. Because if you can let go of fear, then you begin to let go of this doubt that what you want to create, what you want to bring into your palm, that apple or metaphor for anything else, is possible. But it's only your belief that it's not possible that prevents you or creates an obstacle in a struggle from you getting there instantaneously. But sometimes that's part of the experience, is to get past those obstacles that we create for ourselves. So how we create reality is dependent on the obstacles that we are creating within our own environment. And does that make sense, caller? That sounded like it made
Dynamite.
sense.
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense. It almost sounds like the talk about the subconscious and how the subconscious actually rules our conscious life just by what it's suggested to you and within your periphery. Absolutely.
Right. And that's why self-reflection and meditation and these processes that we can take towards not being controlled by topics like pornography, like what we were talking about, those distractions. If we can take more responsibility for the thoughts of, not necessarily every single thought that comes into our mind, but the thoughts that we choose to grab onto. This is something that came up in the last episode. It's not the process of trying to stop these thoughts from ever happening, because often cases with the way the human body works, if you walk around and you see advertisements for McDonald's, it will still be there in front of your mind, but it's your choice to grab onto that idea, if that makes sense. So I mean, you can see all this stuff trying to distract you, but you don't have to like embody it. You're the observer of your thoughts. You are not your thoughts themselves. Yeah. Shifting paradigms. Great to me. Cool. All right, Ralph, did you have?
This is it right here. This dynamic right here. This conversation is the shift. This is great.
Right. Well, you hit
helping us remember. Go ahead, Ralph.
That's it right there. We just have to really just see how powerful we are, and as well see that. That's why so many people on the planet don't want the responsibility, We want to blame the media. And we have to see that we really do have so much power, because the more and more people can see that they are the only ones holding themselves back. A lot of people right now on the planet, some people are creating their own business, their own network, their own new world. And they've only been able to do that because they have created their own reality by allowing themselves, by transmutation. And we're the only ones who are holding ourselves back. There's no excuses right now in 2013. Maybe 5 years ago. But right now, the tide is turning.
Ralph, can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
Go ahead, caller. Yeah.
What is your take on the fact that we have so many heliocentric squares between Uranus and Pluto right now, and the prediction of the age of Aquarius, like back in the 70s, they had the song, the age of Aquarius, What do you think about that right now? How much bearing does that have on this consciousness shift?
Ralph, did you get that okay? It was a bit choppy.
It was cutting out, actually.
I missed the first part about something between Uranus.
Yeah, Uranus and Pluto.
Right. Go ahead.
Okay.
Sorry, caller, are you still there? Yeah. It's just like bonus choppy, that's why, so we're not getting your full question.
Okay.
Try again. Yeah, it's not. No, it appears as if the Illuminati is trying to hijack the broadcast again. So this does happen time to time on Paradigm Shift Radio. Actually, okay, caller, I apologize, but I just want to step in here because that's actually a key thing. And Ralph, you talk about this in one of your ideas, and I think in terms of hitting nails on the head, if people were to ask you questions about, Ralph, what's the deal with the Illuminati? Like your answer and my answer, and then it's this process of taking back the power that we are the Illuminati, we are the illuminated ones, we are the ones that have the all-seeing eye within ourselves, and it's not something that's just like on a paper dollar bill that symbolizes conspiracy. Like that symbol in itself is something that we need to reclaim with our own identity of the all-seeing eye being like that of awareness and that of consciousness. But so yeah, go ahead, Ralph, if you just want
to. Right. Well, that's the whole thing. We have all the power. That's why I tell people take 100% responsibility, because you have to see the secret is whatever you fight, you give power to. Because resistance makes stronger. So all the power has always lied within ourselves. We just have to be ready to handle it. Can we handle that much power? It's not easy. Because now you have all of this power. What are you going to do with it? You see, a lot of people, unless you are really into creating, a lot of us, we don't want that power. But now people are embracing it with open hands, because we are seeing that, everything, the government was created out of our own insecurity. And because we want someone to lead us, someone to hold our hands, we have to really begin to stand on our own 2 feet and take back your power. Also, see, why am I tuning into fear? If you are, and realize that, we have to change or focus on whatever you focus on grows.
Yeah. Yeah, like literally, like thoughts are the water that we water our plants with, and those plants are our thoughts. So what plants are you watering? What wolves are you feeding? Again, just being very mindful and full responsibility for what we do here and now to create for not only ourselves, but for our children and our children's children, and for a future that we may theoretically be able to reincarnate back into, which I think is an awesome idea. Hoverboards, woo! Hoverboards and hover inline skates. Cool. All right. Yeah, caller's still with us. getting the hoverboard. Sorry, caller. Try again with your question, and then we're actually gonna move on to another caller who's actually in the queue as well. But caller who's with us now, go ahead. Try your question again. See if it's choppy or not.
Okay, one last time. I just wanted to know the significance, in your opinion, of the squares between Uranus and Pluto and the age of Aquarius approaching.
The planetary alignment is just the indication that Earth itself is ascending. That's why we all are ascending right now, because Earth itself, Mother Nature, is alive. And everything which is happening out there is only a reflection of what's taking place within ourselves. I always tell people, you are a planet yourself. We don't have to even focus on what's going on out there. We just have to realize once we're in alignment, everything else falls into alignment. And to see that, everything is rising right now on the planet, not just on Earth, but in other distant stars. You see, it's just that we're moving, we're increasing the vibration. In essence, we're creating that transparency where finally the hidden is coming to light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how Alan Watts reminds us that we are a continuation of the Big Bang. I mean, presuming, Big Bang's like one idea of how to believe, but just that momentum of the universe unfolding, and the same energy that goes into creating planets, it's the same energy that goes into us waking up every day and living our lives. So, yeah, each of us is the center of our own galaxy, center of our own universe. I definitely like that idea.
A little side joke, sir, and I hope this is not inappropriate.
Jokes are welcome.
That sounds like something you could say, like, at the bar, Hey, we are a continuation. I'm just joking. I really appreciate you guys talking to me. Thanks for taking out your time. This is great, and keep on doing what you guys are doing. I really admire you a great deal.
Thanks, man. And to you and anyone else, caller, I forget your name off the top of my head.
Cornell, man. Cornell.
But sorry, what's your name again?
Cornell, Cornell.
Cool. All right. Well, Cornell, and to anyone else, please feel free to connect with myself and Ralph Smart on Facebook. So for myself, it's facebook.com/SkullBabylon and also youtube.com/SkullBabylon. And that's where you can check out all the videos and subscribe there. And for Ralph Smart on Facebook, Ralph, is it facebook.com/Ralph Smart? Is that too obvious? Is that exactly what it is? Yeah, okay, cool. And then infinitewaters.net. And, of course, Ralph has a book, multiple books that are available through. Is it multiple books, Ralph? Is it?
Right, yeah. Once you're on Infinite Waters, you can just find the links there. InfiniteWaters.net.
We're diving deep with Skull Babylon,
That's right.
That's right.
Awesome, yeah, and lots of videos that Ralph is putting out himself, and he's also the one who's filming and editing the footage that you're seeing in the video. So just keep that in mind. And some of the beautiful footage that you see in Ralph Smart videos, that's shot by him. So amazing stuff. So caller, I'm just gonna let you go, and we'll move on to our next caller. And again, facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. So caller, I'll if you add me on Facebook, then I'll speak with you again. So cool. Thanks, Cornell.
Well, keep it shifty. Peace, man.
All right, keep it shifty, dude. Cheers. All right. All right, so moving on, Ralph is still with us, and we have a caller who's queued up, and this will be the last caller that we'll bring on, and then we'll wrap things up here officially. And the caller is Stacy La 73, and that's their Skype name. So Stacy, if you're ready, we're going to bring you onto the air with Ralph Smart. Here we go. Hello, caller. Do you have headphones?
Hello?
Yeah, caller, we can hear you, but we can also hear the echo. Yes.
Oh. Do you need headphones? I just put those headphones, Diego. Oh, hang on a sec. Let me get them.
Okay.
I'm calling on behalf of my son.
Oh, awesome. Hello to your son who is listening.
Hello. Here we are.
You're on the internet. Say hello to the thousands of people. All right. So, Stacy, are you good?
So my son, he just loves everything you guys are about. And I'm trying to raise him.
Sorry, caller, I was just going to say, we're still getting feedback. Do you have your...
I do have them on.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
It might still be coming through. It's probably better now if you did something. Yeah. Okay. So caller, go. Sorry, Stacy. Are you from LA? Is that me presuming?
No. That's
okay, I wasn't.
Like was my last name.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't
Diego,
sure.
because I'm actually on the air right now. He's laughing so hard. He's 7.
He can come on if he wants to. If he wants to say something as well. But caller, go. Stacy, go ahead. What would you like to mention?
We've been watching, basically he's watched all the Spirit Science, almost all the episodes. He's really into the Hidden History movie. I gave him a little taste of Ralph the other day. Thank you, Ralph, because, the things that you represent are so beautiful. And my child is already very tuned in. He's very spiritually focused. He's also just the regular 7-year-old kid who's, full of mischief and everything else. Regular? And I guess... You call me regular? And I guess what my, my kind of question to you guys is when there are children that have already kind of shown an interest in this paradigm shifty stuff, what are some of the things that you think are best for children? Like I teach children's yoga, so I'm already kind of on that tip with teaching yoga to children and getting them kind of hooked in. What are some other things? Being in nature, farming, but are there, like my son, he loves technology. Technology is a mirror of our own consciousness and, our own experience. So, what are some things that he can do kind of to be farther along at his stage in life, than I was. I'm 40 now, so it took me that long. I'd like to give him kind of a jump start in this paradigm shifty stuff, for both of our sakes.
I think I'll just say I think that's a great question, and thank you so much for using the term paradigm shifty stuff. That officially means that it is now a meme, and everybody else is welcome to use it as well. I was just going to say there's about 6.5 minutes left of airtime, but Ralph, please go ahead and respond to that.
Well, it's just also seeing how great nature is, and just by also not being so hard on ourselves, especially children, because now they're also dealing with a lot. There's a lot of information out. So if they are raising their vibration, that's fantastic, you see. And everything comes at the right time. More so, it's just about facilitating their own growth and their own development, helping them become the greatest versions of themselves, giving them the tools they need to become greater, so the resources they need. Also looking at the nutrition, because you are what you eat, and seeing just...
That's nobody's favorite saying. What you eat.
Right. It's just about the facilitation, and that's the best we can do, just to help them, their own passion, their own goals and dreams.
Sorry, that last part sort of chopped out. Were you done there, Ralph?
Just to help them focus on their passions and their goals and dreams.
Absolutely. I think that what you said there, focus on their passion, cultivate, help them foster what it is that they're passionate about. Going back to what we were talking about of how do we awaken? If we can be creative, being creative is a direct expression of spirit, and whether that just be through crayons and markers, whether that be like running around in the park. I mean, running around in the park takes creativity, using our imagination. Go ahead, little guy who's on the air. What's your name, if you don't mind me asking? Stacy's boy.
What's your name?
Diego, do you have something that you want to share with the people? Something you have to say on behalf of all the little guys out there?
Oh, yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. I would like a nature summer camp every year for kids, every continent, every country, every town.
That's awesome. I agree. I think that would be great. Yeah, get him outside, get him playing, nature camps and stuff. Cool. Diego, was there anything else? I just feel, Ralph, maybe do you have a question for Diego within the last couple minutes?
Well, the question is, well, not really a question, but just well done for doing what you do and continue to
absolutely
really enjoy life and continue to be happy and
Sure.
and you've got a great mom, so well done to you.
That's right. And,
She really is a great mom.
Diego.
Not so sarcastic.
Not at all. I can tell she's great. Diego, I have sort of a question for you. Are you aware of the idea that you actually picked your mom before you were born and she actually picked you? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Well, it sounds like you picked a good mom. Sounds like you guys are quite the team, so that's awesome.
Yeah,
Stacy, do you have anything else that you want to mention? We just have a couple minutes left here in the show.
Yeah. Well, that was really great to hear. First of all, thanks. I do my best, but it's not an easy job. And it is hard to do these things in our current system. Sending my son to school. For example, he was like, I want to tell everybody about the Hidden History movie, and I feel that I should encourage it. But then again, what are people going to say about the kid who comes with all these ideas that are kind of going against everything that people want to keep holding on to? And, that's kind of a reoccurring theme.
I got a weird club.
For my whole life, and now I'm seeing that extension in my son. He just was behind me saying, I've got a weird club. This kind of, we don't fit into the current paradigm. We don't.
My people are encrypted. Just saying.
Not many people, until recently, were into a lot of the things that were very important to me, and now I seem to, pass them on to my son, which is beautiful, but, going against the grain with, I see these people, they're living these beautiful lives, they're doing all these things, but they're really independent. They don't have, the kind of attachments that you get, when you kind of complicate things with the family scene. But it's just, I think that there needs to be more things for, whole families to be involved in.
More space.
Communities that aren't just, because it's hard, even if, for example, certain parts of, these talks, they're not appropriate for children. They won't understand them.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't, like Ralph said, it comes in its time.
Mm-hmm. Making it accessible.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But
Stacy,
then,
I was just going to say we're just winding down on the last couple seconds here. First of all, thank you so much for Ralph for being on the show with us here tonight. Thank you for everybody listening. Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio and ParadigmShiftCentral.com. Check out all the updates on there. I know we didn't get to mention them in this episode. And Stacy and Diego, I encourage you guys to, when you get the time, maybe after the show tonight, go check out the Journey to Lucidity movie. That's a full-length movie, and it's kid-friendly, and I would love to hear Diego's thoughts on that. So with that said, we'll just wrap up the episode here, and there will be an after-party hangout. Keep an eye open for the link on that at Facebook.com/ParadigmShiftRadio. And this is going to cut off live here on the Blog Talk feed, but we'll go into recording right now. So thank you, everyone. And just before we finish and wrap things up here, Stacy, any last words that you just want to share, and then I'll pass it over to Ralph.
Well, just thank you guys
Diego.
so much, for what you're doing. It's so amazing. I'm learning something new every day, and just being able to share it with this, this guy and the rest of you.
This little youngster, you mean?
This little youngster. We were all little youngsters. So we're still
right.
I'm a comedy guy.
He's a comedy guy, so
Cool.
that's what he just said. Well, thank you so much.
Right? Yes.
Thank you as well.
you.
Thank you, Diego. So, Ralph, last words to go out on?
Well, thank you so much for everything you're doing at Paradigm Shift Radio, and it's just thank you for having me on the show, and continue doing what you do, because this is the time right now for the whole planet to awaken. It's already happening right now as we speak.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So thank you again, Ralph, and thank you, Stacy. And Ralph, I would love to be able to work with you some more in future collaborations. There's some things I'll talk to you about them later, but what we're going to be doing through Paradigm Shift Central is a sub part of it called the Inspiration Station, and sharing your content, your videos that you create through there, I think will be a wonderful contribution, and look forward to sharing your work with many more people. So with that said, thank you again, Ralph, and thank you, Stacy and Diego, who just disconnected on us there. And Ralph, just double checking, any final bonus words, or shall we just say namaste and farewell for now?
Well, just to tell everyone that we're here all to become the greatest versions of ourselves, but to do that, we have to let go of society's expectations, and we have to also connect with other kindred spirits. That's the biggest thing people have to do right now. Like how we're connecting is fantastic, but people have to unite, because united we thrive. We can't do anything alone. Mm-hmm. We need each other to really take the awakening to a mass level, to hit the mainstream. We have to work together, and as well we have to realize the power lies within us. All of it is within us. But thank you once again.
Nice. Thank you, Ralph. So remember, kids, we are not how's it go? We are not we are not a drop in the ocean. We are the ocean in a single drop. So remember that family isn't always about blood. It's the people in your life who you want and who want you in theirs, the ones who accept you for who you are, the ones who would do anything to see you smile and love you no matter what. So from your family here at Paradigm Shift Radio and ParadigmShiftCentral.com, and on behalf of Ralph Smart, InfiniteWaters.net, thank you once again for listening into another episode of Paradigm Shift Radio, and join us again for next week's episode when we'll have parkour athlete Tim Sheaf on the show. So stay tuned for that. That'll be another good one. So thanks again for everybody listening, and Ralph, join me in saying goodbye to the internet for now. So farewell, internet. Namaste. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks again, Ralph. Cheers.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Paradigm Shift Radio. If you enjoyed this episode and found value in it, then please consider donating to support the creation of more consciousness shifting media at ParadigmShiftCentral.com/donate. Thank you.